Hey, Tyler,
Yes, sir.
what's a good kill to death ratio?
Oh man, that is the perfect thing to start with.
Oh, we're
So,
going into that.
The
Oh,
context
my
is
goodness.
I'm a horrible gamer. Like, I want to buy the new Crash Bandicoot for Switch. That's where I'm at in my game.
I have it for Xbox.
Ooh.
The new one?
Yeah,
Is it fun?
good.
Because
It is.
I was watching a play-by-play.
I love Crash Bandicoot games, so
I do too.
I'm all for them.
Um,
But
so to
yeah,
quickly
answer
to really quickly answer your question, in my opinion, I'm sure I'm gonna get hit with stats and facts in a second here, but
With Google searches and validation.
Yeah. So my opinion is if you have a 2.0 kill death ratio, then that's good. Anything below that is not good.
Can you explain to those idiots like
Oh,
me
that's
out
wait,
there
wait,
what that means?
wait. So now it's a 2.0.
What?
I just because you weren't saying that in our messages the other day. You were saying like, dude, oh no, like 1.5 is trash. Like these guys who are really good are like 3-0 and over. That's what's really good.
No, I mean
Now,
that's
so you backtracked a little bit.
No. The
You
guys that are playing with like a 4.9, like a 6.0, that's like top tier. If you have a 2.0, that's good.
Yeah, I think 2.0, but in general consensus, a 1.5 is considered
I just
a
don't.
good
But
KD.
we talked about this. Going 12-8 in a Call of Duty match isn't good.
But I would kill for that.
Yeah, just because you
I'm
kill
a
for it,
0.6.
but just because you're a 0.6 doesn't mean that 1.5 is good.
Can you explain to those of us idiots in the room what a
Google it.
kill to death ratio
Kill
is
to
and
death
like how
ratio
that
is how many
pans out?
kills you can get for every time you die. So like if you have a 2.0, you get 2 kills and then you die every single time, which obviously that's not how it works. Like
That's like
practically,
the average.
but that's like an average. So
Right.
if you can, that's the 12-8 isn't good. Like if I went and played Valorant right now and I went 12-8, I would not feel great about myself.
And I would feel tremendous about myself.
And then if I went and picked up the sticks and went on to Call of Duty with that aim assist and went 12-8, I would never play again.
If you Google,
Oh, here we go. Let me Google it and feel validated.
if you Google kill death ratios for like say a Call of Duty or something, everything that pops up says a 1.5 is a good ratio. Like that's like, okay, you're a good player.
Yeah, but just think about it. Like I don't want to compare it to like anything else, but like if a ratio is 1.5, like I don't know, that's not. How could you compare that? Like,
Is it
I don't know, like even
on
a
what
1.0, that's terrible. You get 1 kill for every time you die. That's really bad.
is it dependent on what platform you're using? So shouldn't a PC, if you're playing on a PC, shouldn't the kill to death ratio be lower because isn't it easier on a PC?
No.
Or I guess no, it's harder, but the people that play on PC are usually better. Is what I meant to say.
Well, I guess it just depends on the game because like Call of Duty sticks win every time.
But the people on the sticks would argue that the PC wins every time.
Close to medium range.
All you hear when I play on Xbox
aim
is,
assist
"Oh, they have
moves.
PC. It's a PC player.
Well, yeah,
Headshot."
I think it's no. Aim assist is so strong in Call of Duty that it's insane. It's so bad, and it like automatically flicks to the head. So, I don't know if you're playing Call of Duty on controller. I'm so sorry to say this, but if you're playing Call of Duty on controller, just regular old multiplayer, and you can't get at least a 2.0, you're not very good.
What about a 0.6? What's a 0.6 then?
No, Aaron, a 0.6 is real bad. But hey, do you have fun? That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
Visible frustration.
As long as you have fun, that's all that matters.
All I know is that when I used
personally
to play,
I don't care about my kill death ratio. So like, there's people out there that'll like that's all they focus on. They think that that's like the big clout thing is to have a good KD. I just like I don't care about kill death ratios. Like as long as you're having fun, that's my thing. But yeah, 2.0 is a good like if you have like a 1.7 or like a 1.9, like you're all right.
So 0.6 doesn't fall into that?
No, but that's all right.
I've never had a first-person shooter where I've even gotten close to a 1. Not even close, remotely.
Okay. It's okay. That's fun.
If it
There's nothing wrong
makes
I've
with
you
been
that.
playing them. I've been playing them for years. You know that's why I don't believe in that old adage, practice makes perfect.
Yeah,
It's
true.
crap sometimes. Because it's like I've been playing video games since I was like in middle school, and I have never progressed at all in any of my shooter experience. So it's a bunch of bullcrap, man. Practice does not make perfect. Sometimes you just don't got it.
No, like
So
I
kids
could
out there,
practice
you
every
can
day.
try all you want sometimes. You will not get better. It is not guaranteed.
Yeah.
The
Don't let
trick
the
is to
world
know what
lie to
things you're
you.
not getting better at. Because, like, what I was going to say earlier is I used to play with our friend Bill, and it'd be like 1st to 10, and he would give me shotguns. He'd be like, yo, Eric, I'll play with only a sniper. I would lose like 9 out of 10. Like, he
Well,
would get
that's
the
your
10,
fault
I would kill
because
him
you
maybe
gave
once.
Bill a sniper,
Bill-
and he's a really good shot.
He is, but the point was that, like, it shouldn't be that easy. Like,
That's
Yeah.
like Steph
he would,
Curry saying,
he would
like, "Hey,
straight up
I'm gonna
tool
play
on
against
me.
you. I'm only gonna shoot threes though. You can
Yeah,
do
that's
everything
fair.
else."
But the context of that is that they also used to wake me up from my morning naps just because they wanted somebody to put their
Eviscerate.
tea on playing Halo, if you will. So
Oh,
because I
man.
was that bad, I just know I'm not good at those type of video games. I'll have fun with you guys every once in a while
I
if I
miss
decide
Halo
to pay
a
for
lot.
Xbox Live. But you know, beyond just the occasional, I just want to get on the mic and talk, shoot the breeze with my boys. While like
That's fun.
I
That's
don't
like
know what
the
I'm
only
doing running
reason
around the mic.
That's the only reason I play Call of Duty now. The new Black Ops title has this game called Prop Hunt that's been going on for a while. But you're like a prop, like a cone or something like that, and you have to hide. And the other team has guns, and they have to like shoot your prop and find you. It's really cool. But
I would actually be good at that.
they call
I would have fun
they
at
call
that.
them party games, and it's a ton of fun. But yeah, moral of the story is if you don't have a 2.0, quit Call of Duty.
Well, that's why I don't play anymore.
I'm just kidding.
That's why I left. I hate myself. It's okay. All right, let's talk sports.
All right,
Let's move on.
this is the Under 500 podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome back into the Under 500 podcast. I am Tyler, and like usual, I'm joined by my two friends, Eric and Aaron. Eric, how's your week been, man? What's up?
I feel pretty horrible right now. Like I'm just getting out of the fog. I got my first Pfizer shot on Friday.
Welcome,
I finally
comrade.
caved in
Finally went under.
and finally got my first vaccination, and it didn't really do much that day besides my arm felt a little funny, and then on Saturday I had dead arm, but I was like foggy. This morning I woke up,
You
I was
started
like,
speaking Russian the next day, right?
that's it, yeah.
That's
And
what
after
it
the
was,
second
yeah.
one I'll know Chinese as well. Maybe
And
a
then
little North Korean.
magnets started going towards
Yeah.
you.
Oh,
Well,
my
it's the 5G
goodness.
antenna, you know.
Oh, the magnet thing is making me so mad.
I've never had as good 5G
On
as I have
TikTok,
right now.
it must
That's all
be
I'm
real.
saying.
My phone connectivity is amazing.
I've never
All
gotten
I know
signal
is
here.
too is I've had weird dreams, like nightmarish dreams. Actually, I had one about this podcast. Now that I think of it, it wasn't a nightmare, but I had to do the intro, like the "All right, guys, what's up?" the thing that Tyler normally does. It was I just remember it was like a blip of a dream. It was super awkward. That just popped into my head. Like it's been very strange dreams, very groggy and a little achy. That's
Cool.
I don't know if those are side effects of Pfizer, the strange dreams, but it's happened.
Well, that can happen when you're sick, anyways. Being sick
You're
can
not
give you
wrong.
weird dreams. So I mean, you have technically the virus in you.
Actually,
So-
no, I do not. That's not how these vaccines work. I've done the
Oh.
research
Yeah,
on
it's
that.
mRNA, which is like a blueprint instead of the virus.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know what that means.
So the
It just
make
Go
sure
ahead.
when you get your second shot, you plan for nothing the next day.
I'll
it-
probably
it-
have to work the next day.
It straight up put me out, like I couldn't move. And they say they say it does that when you have like a good immune system.
Yeah, so I get 4 hours for each shot from work. So I will be able to leave with a half day, but I will have to go to work the next day. And because the next day will be July 3rd, if I do not work July 3rd, I will not get paid for July 4th.
Oh,
Oh.
hey,
That's
that's
bad
coming up quick. I love days off of work, man. Let me tell you.
I think July 4th falls on a Sunday.
Yeah, which
So that
means I
means I'll
get
have
Friday
Tuesday
off.
off.
You get Monday off, I believe.
Oh, I
I
might get
already have
Friday
Mondays off. So I'll
we
get
got
Tuesday
Monday
off.
here.
If I get Monday off, I'll be pumped. If I get Friday off, I'll be even more pumped. There's
Your
nothing
salary.
better.
You can come and go as you please, anyways.
That's a really good point.
You're the boss. You could just not show up.
Yeah, no, but that's why the other guy got demoted. So
Tell the
true.
old store manager, hey, remember when you got demoted because you wouldn't show up? Yeah, I'm not coming in Monday. remember how you felt work sitting at home while I had to do all your work? Yeah, well, guess what, buddy?
He doesn't listen to this,
I
right?
really hope he never does. I don't think he knows the name of it.
Oh, that's awkward.
That'd
You
be
can cut
really
that out,
awkward.
right?
Yeah.
We'll have to edit our first episode just in case he listens.
I hope not. Anyways, Aaron, how are you?
I was gonna say I'm doing well. Now we're getting ready to. I mean, we just officially posted on Facebook, but getting ready to move in a couple weeks, going back to Western Mass. So
Woo.
that's been
Yeah,
a
buddy.
lot trying to find a place. We're gonna have to move my parents for a little bit, which sucks, but
Back to Springfield with the parents.
yeah, but we've got like 4 places we're looking at, and one of them it's so dumb. I hate how it works. Like we checked it out yesterday. We drove out to Chicopee. Look at this gorgeous apartment, like huge, for a really good price, less than 1,000 a month. And I'm like,
Ooh.
bro, like I want it. Like I went there and I was like, I'll give you everything right now plus extra. Like I'll throw another 1-2 grand like on this.
Bribe
Like
'em.
I want this right now. And they're like, yeah, everyone else who's come here has said they want it too. So literally, we're just gonna have to pick. Like that's what it comes down to. And I'm like, that's such.
Did anybody else have kids?
I don't
Do you
know.
know? You could have
I
played
don't
the
know.
kid card and be like,
Oh,
we brought our-
definitely.
We brought our kids. We brought
My
our kids.
sister.
We
My
brought the kids.
sister-in-law did that and got a really nice house for like a lower than asking price, or I forget the stipulations.
That's
but,
why
yeah.
we wanted to bring the kids just in case. But
But
like,
what if
it's
they
a
turned off because of the
gorgeous
kids?
place. It's a gamble, man.
Oh,
Rolling the dice.
Yo,
You gotta
Chicopee
see.
can be so hit or miss. You can have some really nice parts of Chicopee, and then there's other parts of Chicopee
Yeah.
that I remember
that's why-
being in and being like,
That's why I want this part, because this is in a really nice part of Chicopee, a really good neighborhood, really gorgeous place. I'm like, oh man, like this would be perfect, and it's less than 1,000 a month.
is
for,
it
like,
closer to the base?
Yes,
Is
Yeah,
it
usually that's where
is
my-
it an apartment
It's right next to
complex
the
or
base.
is it like a
no,
house?
it's in a house that they like redid and stuff like that, and we'd
So
be
it's
on
not a
one of the levels,
duplex?
but it's over 1,200 square feet.
Just
Which
be
is way
prepared for
bigger.
those C5s taking off in the
Oh
middle
yeah,
of the night.
all the time.
That is the biggest plane in the U.S. Air Force arsenal.
It's
That
massive.
thing makes noise.
Yes, it does. I remember those growing up being out there. It's like, oh, there's a C5 coming in. You could hear it from miles out.
The
every time.
C5s would fly over church, and we'd have to stop prayer, or like the Kevin would have to stop preaching.
Really?
Because they were right in the takeoff path. And we had the A10s where I grew up at Barnes, and they switched over to F15s. And those
Dude,
are pretty sick.
I hate
taking off.
airplanes.
They all have a. Oh, stop it!
I can't
You
stand
They all
hate
have a-
airplanes?
dude, being on an airplane is the most terrifying thing that I'll ever do.
Oh, stop that!
I can't do
But,
I've
it.
been
like,
like
I can get you
80,000
not-
miles in the air. I love it.
I can
Oof.
get not liking to be in a plane, but like you just don't like them in general.
Well, no, I just don't like flying.
Oh,
No.
I love
I mean,
seeing
I can get
Like, I
that.
think
military planes fly over.
Planes are cool. I didn't mean to be like, no, I hate planes.
I hate everything about planes. I hate how they look. I hate how they feel.
I can't stand flying, and it's all because of there was one. It was 2 Thanksgivings ago. It was the first year we were here in Kansas, and we flew back to Boston for Thanksgiving. And on the way back into Kansas City, we experienced turbulence like no other. Like he
Yeah, it
flew
can
us
be bad.
through a thunderstorm,
Yeah.
and I legitimately thought I was going to die.
Yep.
Like
Yeah, turbulence is no fun. That's when that's when
I've
your
had
faith grows.
turbulence. Like I've flown transatlantic over Greenland and Iceland, where it's like those jet streams can be really, really bad, and experienced turbulence. But this was like not like my wife's flown like 22 hours on a plane to New Zealand, and like she was like that was the worst I've ever had. Like she was scared, which freaked me out a lot. I was like, oh, then it was that bad. Like it was that bad.
Did we almost die?
Yeah.
You
That's
guys
how I
should
felt.
try flying. When I was a kid, I flew in a Cessna a couple times, and one of the times because you couldn't go above 1,000 feet because it was an orientation flight. So I mean, I got to like help taxi the plane out and do all that cool stuff. But those little planes, you feel it a lot more. And I was in with this guy, he was sitting in the back, and the plane literally dropped like 15 feet. And I mean, this is a little Cessna, it's a single engine, like it's only going 100 miles an hour and it drops. And all of a sudden I hear him in the back go, because you're wearing like the mics that it's a hot mic when you talk, so like it'll activate. And all of a sudden you hear.
I didn't hear it.
That
Like,
didn't
what
come
was that?
through. Whatever you
I'm
did
not
did
doing that
not
again.
come through.
Oh, completely
Oof.
lost his lunch, man.
Yeah,
Like
dude.
That's
turbulence
better
in a
than
little plane is horrible.
that's better than hearing. Oh dear God.
Mayday, mayday.
Oh, we're so screwed.
You guys know how to swim?
Get the parachute.
Stop. Dude, I'm like
Let's-
legitimately getting anxiety talking about plane crashes.
You guys ever seen or read the book or heard about the book The Hatchet, where the kid has to land the plane because the pilot had like a heart attack and died, and he crash landed the plane, then lived with nothing but a hatchet for like 6 months? Great book. I think it became a movie.
Is it a
What a
true
bomb.
story?
I don't know if actually it might be. I'm sure something like that's happened before. I don't know if like this particular occasion is
Yeah.
a true
What a
story.
boss.
Anyways, how did we get to that? You want to talk some sports?
Yeah, let's finally get into sports.
Oh, guys, this is a sports podcast. We totally forgot.
You want to talk about Kyrie? There, Aaron. You were
He went
mentioning
down.
this earlier.
He went down today, man. I think it's
Oh.
over for the Nets. It's it. It's
Oh.
done, man. So they were up 2-0 on the Bucks of the first two games. The second game they spanked them. I mean, it was 39 points they beat them. But then the series flipped. Went to Milwaukee. The Bucks took game 3. Giannis did Giannis things. He was a big headache for them the whole game, and Middleton. But then in this game 4, it was a close game, and then down goes Kyrie, bad ankle sprain. Honestly, he's not going to be available probably for a couple games. And James Harden is also still out with the hamstring that he tweaked at the beginning of this series. If they're out, if they're not playing, and it's just KD, it's over. Bucks are taking that series. The Nets are done. Like that's just what it's going to be, and I think it's a good thing because bring on the new blood. Because you got the Suns who are up 3-0 on the Nuggets, and they're playing tonight, probably going to win and advance to the Western Conference Finals. And then you have the Jazz who are up 2-1 on the Clippers right now. They're playing fantastic as well, so I am all for that. It's crazy how like all of the teams we thought initially. I remember at the beginning of this podcast, it's going to be Lakers, it's going to be Nets, yada yada, and then I love how like the basketball gods are just like injuries, and took out LeBron, AD, Kyrie, Harden, and just got all those guys injured, and so now we get like this new infusion of like younger players and teams that usually aren't there. The Utah Jazz. The Utah freaking Jazz are like up 2-1 and probably going to go to a conference finals. The Phoenix Suns, they haven't been to the playoffs in like 10 years. And they're one win away from going to the Western Conference final. I love it. Because now we're seeing like not super teams making it, but like
I was just about to say, let the super teams fail.
The Jazz and the Suns are teams that have actually built their teams. You know, a couple years of building up talent. Yes, the Suns got Chris Paul, but that was just one guy. But then through good coaching, through good player development, you see these teams elevating and stuff. Now, it did take massive injuries to these studs to allow that. But I think it's good for the league. I think it's good to see. I don't know how much the commissioner likes seeing this.
Yeah.
That's true. But let the super teams fail. Like we've seen them be successful for a multitude of years now. I would rather, and this is no commentary on Kyrie. We don't need to go back into that, but
No.
Good. I'm glad that they're injured. I'm glad that and I'm not glad that they're physically hurt or injured. Like I just mean I'm glad that injuries happened. In that I'm glad that those kind of things. Tyler's looking at me like I have 6 heads. Like those things happen so that we could have, like you said, new blood, and so that those super teams fail. Like
talk about
not
one of the biggest flops in history.
Seriously, talk about James Harden going after he's got the MVP. He really wants the championship. This was like the one year they could probably pull it off, because I doubt they're all going to want to come back
They
next
all
year.
get hurt.
And they're all hurt. Good.
That's what happens.
He literally pulled his hamstring in the first, I think, 12 seconds of game 1. He went out there, bam, pulled a hammy. He's been out the whole series. And then, I mean, if all three
Who are
of
the
them
other
were
two
starting,
teams in the
it'd be
East?
over.
It's Philly and who else?
It's Philly's probably I don't know. Philly and the Bucks could do it. The Hawks, they're not gonna.
Oh, okay.
They're playing
So
they'll lose the Sixers. So it'll
so
be
Doc
between
Rivers
Philly
is
and
back.
yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah, he's back. He's a good coach. I mean, Embiid is he's a heck of a player too. I mean, he was
Oh,
an
so you get a
MVP
good player and
finalist.
a good head coach that the players buy in on, and wouldn't you know it, you end up back in the Eastern
They
Conference
also
Finals.
they have a great supporting cast, like a really good. Like they got their one stud guy, and then Tobias Harris, Ben Simmons are really good supporting players, and they're doing it. So
Yeah,
I
Tobias
think it's good
Harris is a
for the
really
league.
consistent player. 'Cause I
Yeah,
had him.
he's not like a premier elite talent, but he's like a guy like he goes out there, he'll get you like 20 points,
Yeah,
like
because I had him on
10
my
rebounds a game.
I had him on my fantasy team, and he consistently got me a good amount of points every game.
Yeah,
It was
he's a
never
guy
like a flop.
right. He'll never be like a crazy, obviously like a Steph Curry talent, but he's a guy who'll go out there and he'll always play well.
Yeah,
You can bank on him playing good.
yeah,
So that helps. And then Ben Simmons is a good, so he can't shoot for his life, at all, but he's a big body who can defend. He's one of the best defenders in the league, and he's a very good distributor, as far as like reading the court. And so you pair that with a guy like Embiid who can score from anywhere,
yeah.
and dominate down low. And then you got Doc Rivers, who's a great coach. They're doing it, and so they'll beat the Hawks. They'll go to the conference finals. At this point now, the Bucks. Well, that'll be a good matchup though. Giannis and Embiid for the Eastern Conference Finals. That'll be really fun to see. They don't like each other.
Nice.
Yeah,
So
they
you
don't.
think there's no chance the Nets are pulling it off?
Not if Kyrie and Harden are out and it's just KD. No, it won't be enough.
Interesting.
They can't handle Giannis. The
So what if they
past two
what
games, Giannis has done whatever he's wanted. They
what if
can't
the
stop him.
league decides that they're going to pull it off? Will they be healthy enough
So
to get in the Eastern Conference Finals and play again?
I
Like, could
love
James
how
Harden and Kyrie come
that's
back?
like an actual possibility.
Yeah, like
I
if the
guarantee
league
you, there's
decides Brooklyn needs to be in this.
Like
yeah,
that's
the NBA would do that
my
though.
goodness. That's so bad that we're talking about a professional sport, and that's like you said that, and
It's so
you said that,
horrible.
and
You
I
can't
didn't go. What are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, that'll probably happen.
exactly. You can't tell me that hasn't happened before.
Yeah.
So, like, I have
Hold
nothing to
on.
refute that with.
I think I
It's
got some
probably,
tinfoil here. Let me go get my
I
tinfoil
guarantee
hat.
you, James Harden right now is getting some phone calls saying like, "Hey, your hammy's healed. Wink, wink.
Yeah.
You're good. Get in there." I guarantee you that's gonna be happening, and they're gonna be shooting Kyrie up with every steroid in the book to try.
Legal, illegal, doesn't really
Yeah, they're gonna
matter.
give him every concoction of chemicals they can to get him back onto that court. Because if those two aren't there and it's just KD, they can't. There's no one on that team who could stop Giannis, and they can't score fast enough to outpace him.
Yeah.
So they need to have all of them there. It's just needed. But
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think the Sun. My prediction now is I think the Suns will take it. I think they're the best overall team.
They'll win
Nice.
the whole thing.
Yeah, I think they could do it. I think they have I mean, you look at their scoring lineup every single night. They have like 5 guys in double figures every night. And you got Chris Paul, who one of the best point guards in the league. Devin Booker is one of the best shooting guards in the league. And then they just have a great team of role players who they can all score. They can all do their thing. So
I
I
wonder
don't know.
what
I think the Suns
Aaron.
could do it.
I wonder what Aaron 6 months ago would say to Aaron right now, saying that.
I never would have thought the Suns.
This is where we need to get some of that audio and play it back.
I was wrong on a
Oh.
lot of that. Granted, I think if the Nets were healthy, 100%, I think they'd win it all.
I think every one of those takes you said, something about injuries. So,
Yeah,
I mean, I think you've been spot on.
It's always
Even in
barring an
that you knew
injury.
that there's, an injury. Yeah, that's exactly what it says, barring an injury. And injury happens. All right.
Yeah.
Well, what does it look like now?
yeah. So that's me. That's it for the NBA right now. I'm excited because it's new teams. I want to see what happens.
Tyler, you want to do this?
We got to
do
talk
No.
about them.
Ugh. Bruins
Not
lost.
that I want to.
As
They didn't just lose in that last game.
Oh, they
got
quit.
They
quit.
quit.
Yeah,
They quit in the second period. They
I
were
couldn't
like,
believe.
nope.
I was checking the score on my phone and I couldn't believe it. They pooped themselves that second period.
Yeah, they quit. So the lot that came out after they lost. So first of all, it was a no-show by everybody in that last game, but Brad Marchand and Charlie McAvoy, they clearly targeted. He was from Long Island, or he is from Long Island, and he grew up a Rangers fan. I did some I just looked at his Wikipedia page, and he had as much as that to say, Islanders, or he was from Long Island, and he was a big Rangers fan. But the fans booed him. they hated him because he's he's obviously supposed to be an Islanders fan and an Islanders player who's from Long Island. Like, what kind of sports take is that? Like, we're gonna boo, like, you roll your eyes, Aaron, because we boo people that leave the team for more money. Talk about, like, how petty is it that
ridiculous.
like
That's so
you're
stupid.
from here, we're gonna boo you because you're from here and you play for the opponent.
It's like,
get out.
they don't write my
No.
checks.
New
So screw
York
them.
fans, New York fans are the worst. They're the worst. They are so so
that's
petty.
So stupid.
This is the first time I've ever heard of a team chanting "We want Boston." It's actually worked out for them. Remember when the Yankees were all, "We want Boston"? Yeah, you wanted Boston, all right. Brock Holt hit a cycle in the playoffs in Yankee Stadium. Pucker up and kiss that. Like, Yankees, New York fans are so horrible. I can't
They
stand
really
them.
are.
No,
but anyways,
that's absolutely ludicrous. That's so stupid.
So the fans targeted him. The Islanders targeted him. He played his heart out. He played injured. Brad Marchand showed up. Everybody else was a no-show. They just worry. We talk about this perfection line and how they're, this best scoring opportunities and just, I don't know, like, it was so frustrating. And I think we could talk about the goalie if we want to get there, and I think we will have to get there. But, like, you got to start with, you apparently have some of the most talented offensive players in the entire league in your first two lines. And whenever it gets into a playoff situation where they actually have to show up and perform, they're a no-show, especially against bigger, more physical teams that can clog up the slot. They clog up the middle of the net, and they can't get it in from the perimeter, and they just poop themselves. And so we can talk about their decor and how it was lacking. Like, I think that's a good second guess to say, you moved on from Chara, which I was okay with, but you didn't bring any other older talent, and you let the young guys defend, and you knew that was going to be a weak spot going into the season. But I don't know, did you think you were going to be playing down down a goal every first period, or like in a 1-1 game every period, when you had Brad Marchand, Patrice Bergeron, David Pastrnak, Krejci, and Taylor Hall in your top two lines? Like, come on. They should have easily been up like 2 or 3 goals by the end of the first period, if not the second. Like, there's no excuse for that. And then your defense, it changes, because now you're just defending a lead. And no matter what sport you're in, defending a lead is different than trying to hang on, because at that point you're trying to make your defense hang on. And when they can't, you have to rely on your goalie. And oh, by the way, your goalie had a hip flexor problem, which is why he missed time, because his hip flexor caused him to overcompensate, and so he hurt his back. And he might have hurt his hip flexor in the bubble, and so they didn't give him surgery then. They let him play the whole year and manage it. And then, when you inevitably lose, we say, oh, well, I probably need surgery. Like, I've had enough of that. Like, it's first off, hats off to him for playing with a hip flexor injury. Probably very painful. Not gonna take that away from him. But, like, I don't know why are we playing the guy? If we know what you see is what you get. And what you see is a guy that has injury problems or isn't there when you need to be. And now we're going to start making excuses for that. No, time to move on from this guy. I've had enough of him.
I'm sorry. I don't know how I don't know how they didn't move on from him when he was like, no, I'm just not going to play anymore. I'm going to go spend some time with my family.
Because I think there was something that actually happened with his family, but he got a lot of flack because there was something going on with his daughter, which might have been legitimate. There's not really a whole lot of details about that, but like 2 days after, he was golfing. And so he got a lot of flack because he left the bubble to be with his daughter, but 2 days later he's golfing. But I don't know, if something's going wrong with your daughter and there's nothing you can do, so your friends say, why don't we hit 9 or go hit 18 just to get your mind off it? Like, I'm willing to give him that. But
Sure.
It's just every year there's something like this that comes up. And now he's 35. He's an unrestricted free agent that needs surgery and won't be back till January. Why would you keep this guy around?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I'm good to move on from him. He's given
us.
us.
That bubble thing is true, though. If he got hurt in the bubble and then they didn't have him get surgery, there's a word for that. That's called mismanagement.
Yeah.
And that's
I completely agree.
That is the organization's responsibility, because you have the right to be like, no, I don't know if it was he didn't want surgery. Either way, if they didn't want him to get it, that's stupid on their part. And then
there's something missing there.
If he didn't want it, then it's like, no, you're going to get it.
Yeah.
Because you're like, so if that's true, the organization itself is at big fault for that.
Yeah.
That's horrible.
This organization has a huge offseason because they could in hockey, the cap is like legit, like it's a hard cap. Like it's not like football where you can just add a couple years and
Right.
make it up. And the cap is something people like to talk about. But Bill Belichick has proven that you really
There's ways around it.
there's 100 ways around it.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
eventually you do run out of money, but like the cap in hockey actually matters. So if you move on from Tuukka, you could have a lot of money to go sign a couple people, not only Taylor Hall, but a couple other people. And there is like some chatter about, do you move on from your management too? Like, there's this guy, Jeff Gordon, not the NASCAR driver, but he was the interim general manager back in 06 for the Bruins. And then they eventually moved on from him. And he went on to sign with the Rangers. He just got fired from the Rangers. This guy, as the interim general manager for the Bruins, signed or drafted Lucic, is it?
Yeah.
He's also drafted Brad Marchand, and he signed Zdeno Chara.
Really?
And he's on the market as somebody you could pick up.
Ooh.
Wow.
And he developed the Rangers into this young, talented team that I don't think they're there yet, but I think they have a lot of young talent. And that guy's on the market that you could pick up. And even if you don't pick him up as a general manager, you just pick him up as like a pro, a pro scout or somebody that helps with your draft board. Wouldn't you want that infusion back into your front office?
Yeah.
He clearly has an eye. He clearly knows what he's doing.
But what was he
I think he
fired for?
drafted because they missed the playoffs, and I don't know if their owner really has a clue. So he needed to send a message. So he did the football thing. He fired the GM and the head coach, which that works in football, and it kind of works in basketball too. I don't know if it works in every sport.
Yeah.
You don't just fire the general manager and head coach when hockey is kind of like a long haul, as you would say, Tyler, a slow burn thing, right?
Yeah.
Like it can take a few years. Like baseball, it takes a few years to get these players in and get them ready. And you could draft some guy and he's 19, and he's not playing until he's 22, 23.
That's true.
True. That's a good point. I mean, yeah, that'd be cool if they picked him up just from his track record of having the eye for such good players. Because you named 3 players that he drafted who are some of the best in the league.
He also he also traded for Tuukka Rask. So he traded for Tuukka Rask and he signed Zdeno Chara. So he drafted Brad Marchand. He drafted Lucic, who were big player. Lucic was huge in that 2011 Stanley Cup, if I remember correctly. And then he recognized Tuukka as a potential good talent, which he was. I mean, he's brought him to 2 finals. He just can't close. And then obviously Zdeno Chara is kind of like this mythological creature. He's a man with a legend. he keeps playing.
You're not wrong. You're not
Somehow
wrong.
still there, yeah.
Played through a Stanley Cup Finals with his jaw sewed shut because he took a puck to his jaw.
Oh,
'cause
that
he
was
refuses
him.
to wear the
Yeah.
full
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's
Jaw
right.
sewed shut, and he's still out there playing. Like he is the kind of man that you want sports players to be.
That's
That's
but
crazy.
back to the Tuukka thing, I'm all right with them just totally moving on from him, either drafting talent or letting Swayman, whatever,
Swayman, yeah.
get a full season in out of him, because he's shown to be a good talent in the net. But I don't know how that is I don't know how good he can be when it's a full season and he gets tired.
A full
and all that
regular
stuff.
season too,
Yeah.
where you're not just in like 3 or 4 cities.
Right.
I think they probably have to pick up another experienced goalie because Swayman's going to be a rookie.
Right.
I just, if you're looking at a bunch of people that are available and you're tempted to just keep the guy you got, you're going to keep a guy who can't close with an injury that's not going to start till January. You're going to have to pay him, and it was his net, as the head coach said, and now you're going to say you're going to back up your replacement. I don't know. I just don't know how that would work.
No, that's
So
Time to move on.
Yeah.
as Bruins fans, for both you guys, real quick, what is it that you want to see the Bruins do in the offseason then? What are the moves you want to see them do or you think they need to do?
Goalie, better defense.
Yes. Yeah.
Those are like the top 2 things.
Basically the only things that they need to be
Sign
to
Hall.
be that
They need to
team.
sign Hall.
And they need to keep Taylor Hall.
Do you think so? You still think keep the small skill guys, not try to beef up and get more size?
Well, if you get a good
Taylor
D,
Hall is bigger.
Yeah, and if you get a good D,
Okay.
then you'll have those guys.
Okay.
I think you keep I think the core of the team, I think you keep. I think you keep Brad Marchand. I think you keep Patrice Bergeron. I think you keep Charlie McAvoy. I think you sign Taylor Hall. I think David Krejci, is that who? I always forget his first name. I think it is David Krejci. I think he is going to be a free agent. I think if you can get him on cheap money, on like a hometown deal, you sign him again. And obviously
keep Pastrnak.
Pastrnak. Yeah, you keep the. It's kind of interesting because they can almost rebuild this thing without having to blow it up. Like in football, typically teams have to blow it up, but the Patriots were always so good about they would do changes, right? Like, I heard the observation that after the 04 run into 05 and 06, that defense needed to get rebuilt. And so Bill did it. And they come back in 07 and they were obviously a undefeated team that yeah, I'll stop there. But like you know what I'm saying? Like obviously the same players that played 01 through 06, he kind of cycled them out and brought in some younger talent, and they were able to do that because the core of that team, i.e. Tom Brady, was there to really, and Vince Wilfork and a couple other guys that the core of the team, the people that you really needed to win were all already established, and you just needed to start bringing in some younger talent. So they have the opportunity to do that, but I think they need some GM work. And I think they might need a fresh pair of eyes, or at least a pair of eyes that have been proven to be good in drafting, to get some more players in that pipeline for them.
Yeah, I agree fully.
Cool. Was that it for the Bruins for you guys?
Yeah.
Not enough.
I was angry for most of the week about that, but I have calmed myself down. That's just it is what it is.
Especially to that last game. I didn't watch it, but I just was keeping up with the score, and I was like, "Woof."
Hockey is so frustrating. It just is such a frustrating sport to watch.
Yeah.
And I love every minute of it, and that's the dynamic, right? Like you're frustrated, but you're loving it too at the same time.
Right.
Oh, so it's marriage.
It's like all right, so baseball. Speaking of frustrating sports, Tyler, you want to talk about this spider tack?
Little sticky situation we got in the MLB?
Sticky situation.
No, we gotta clarify that.
I don't think we need to in this situation.
I love how the Wall Street Journal, the article title is "This is Spider Tack, the men who inadvertently created MLB's stickiest problem," and the picture is Garrett Cole holding the baseball. Oh, that's too good.
So that's talking about that article is talking about a guy he created, I think, for weightlifting. Yeah. And I was looking at the the Amazon reviews. There's a question for Spider Tack from July 27th, 2020. It said, "How do I get the tacky off hands and stones?" And the answer is to get it off your hands, use WD-40 and just work it thoroughly. To get it totally off your stones, you can lightly pressure wash it off, and you can also just leave them outside in the weather.
Wait, stones? Rocks.
It's weightlifting. Please clarify, Aaron.
It's Atlas stones. That's what they use in like strongman competitions.
So not their okay. All right, cool.
No, not their.
Stop.
They're not recommending they pressure wash their stones.
But so okay, so just the reason why I read that is
they get
been hearing a lot about this
stones with all that crap on it. They get really gross. Sorry, I'm just.
No, there's just so many avenues here. It's like at a four-way stop, and I could take a number of turns here. So I'm going to continue straight, if you will. The reason why I read that review though about having to use WD-40 to get it off your hands, this is what baseball players are using to get their spin rate and velocity, or mostly spin rate, right, of their baseballs when throwing.
It's spin rate.
A substance that you need WD-40 to get off your hands.
Listen, so this is somebody, I think it's Tony Caruso. This is somebody, I don't know their first name. Anyways, Spider Tack has an amber color, and it's compared to room temperature molasses. When you stick your finger in a jar of it and start pulling away, it's so sticky that it wants to adhere to itself, and it creates webs. Like you ever put like Elmer's glue and you pull it apart and it's like webs. So that's where they get the name Spider Tack from it, because it like webs up. But that's insane that they recommend WD-40 to get it off.
So the context of why we're talking about this is because in Tyler Filmian, it's they have the in baseball this year, the average is the lowest it's ever been, or one of the lowest it's ever been. I was reading an article from early April that said it was the lowest since there are 5 years in baseball where it was super low. 1968 is known as like the year of the pitcher, and then they changed. I think that was the year that after that they moved they changed around the mound, right? They lowered it, I believe, after that. But anyways, it's one of the lowest average years for hitters, and strikeouts and walks are still up, but the average is down. And they obviously took some of the doctoring that MLB was doing away so that ball would die faster and not hit into become home runs. But they haven't really been paying attention, or they have been, but they haven't done anything about what pitchers are doing to enhance the ball so that it is just blowing right by these hitters, right? So like it's not even just the velocity and the 97 mile an hour and the 98 mile an hour fastballs. It's how those balls are moving. It's how they sink at a way they never used to, or they rise at a way they never used to, or they slide off the plate the way they never used to, because the pitchers are using these substances that are artificially modifying how the ball leaves their hand, and it's screwing up how hitters can hit, right? So it's not just about being able to crank it into the stands. It's about just being able to get a base hit because of just how the ball is moving and what the pitchers are doing to the ball. So the MLB is actually starting to monitor this. There was I heard that they were actually representatives at different fields, including Fenway Park, by the way, that were taking balls that were in play out. They were putting barcodes on them and then putting them in bags and sending them back to MLB headquarters.
So was this legal
No.
up to this point?
No, absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
Minor league players just got suspended for this.
Any foreign substance on a ball is illegal.
So why is it just getting addressed now?
So what you have, so basically, and this is it's not really a theory. I think you could probably prove it. My whole thing is I think this is a vicious cycle of compensation. So the MLB compensates for numbers being low because there's no action by juicing the balls and making the ball go further. And that was basically proven. And then, so in order to counteract that or to compensate for that, pitchers start using these subtle substances to make it harder for them to hit. So they can't blast the ball out on a measly little swing down, opposite field home run. So I think it's a vicious cycle of compensation to where pitchers are saying, okay, if you're going to juice the balls, we're going to use something to counteract you juicing the balls.
Right.
So it's just going around in this big circle. What's next for the batters? Corked bats, which is a lot harder to get away with than than spider tack, because spider tack something you can just, because it's so sticky, you can just put a line of it in the bill of your hat and just rub it a little bit, and you got a little bit on your fingers. It's not, you're not dipping your hands in a jar every time. It's these really subtle things. Pitchers this stuff is new to me. All the time in the past is, you've seen it there was a game in Fenway against the Yankees, and
I was there.
Yeah, so you were because you were with Devin Ruffner, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah. So the pitcher, who I forget his name,
Michael Pineda
had a big black spot on, and he's a person of color, so I think he thought it would blend in, but he had a big thing of pine tar on his neck, and he would just touch his neck to get some pine tar on his fingers, and finally Alex Cora comes out of the dugout. Was it? I don't know if it was
John
Alex,
Farrell.
John Farrell. Yeah. John Farrell comes out of the dugout and he's like, "Can you check out the big giant blob on that guy's neck?" And so finally,
in fairness, you put it on the neck that faced the Yankees dugout. But I mean, inevitably, someone's gonna say, "Hey, the third base coach can be like,"
and it was
that's pine tar, or
you got a hickey, or
right now.
So, and the thing that blows my mind about that whole thing is he had to have been in the locker room, slapped it on, and asked the pitching coach, "Hey, does this look all right?" And the guy was like, "Yeah, it looks fine. It looks great." And he goes out there with a big black stripe on his neck. I mean, come on. It was just, obviously sweat probably made it glow a little bit more, but I mean, it's pine tar. It already has a little bit of shininess to it. But anyways, yeah, foreign substances have been probably being used since the beginning of baseball.
This isn't stealing signs.
It's nothing new. There's nothing. People have been taking steroids since the 90s, and they never stopped. They just found a way to mask it. But sticky tack is spider tack is one of those things because of how incredibly sticky it is. That should be like, people should be suspended for it. I
used
fully
to
agree.
Plus
use it
how it's
stuff in the
affecting the game
NFL.
negatively. Like it's
Right.
just it's making the game more boring, frankly.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And the MLB is in a crisis where they need to have more teams like the Red Sox, frankly, that can spray the ball all over the place and make it interesting. Like I don't need a walk-off home run for a win. A couple nights ago,
Right.
Friday night, Verdugo hit a walk-off double off the top of the Green Monster, and it hit that place where games go to die. You know, where the scoreboard sticks out and it bang, and it just dies. Once the ball hits there, like you know someone's about to score because it stops and all the movement of the ball and then it just kind of rolls off slowly. Like that's where a hit is up there. I would rather watch that than home runs and strikeouts and walks. Like,
I agree. I think it's really funny that the Red Sox are really entertaining offensively and really entertaining when they lose, because they lost 18-4 today.
Box score. Yo, real quick on the Red Sox, that Whitlock kid who's going to be probably starting. Yeah, I watched him Friday. He came in the 8th. He gave up a base hit and it was a pretty good battle, but he gave up a base hit inevitably to a leadoff guy. He then picked the guy off at first base. So got him in a pickle, picked him off, and then struck out the next 2 batters. Nails. Oh, I love that.
Oh yeah.
Like that's where baseball is really good. Like you're right, there wasn't base runners necessarily. There was only one. There wasn't base hits. There wasn't home runs. There wasn't doubles. It wasn't bases loaded. It was just a good performance by a pitcher that knows what he's doing on the mound and wasn't going to crack after. Because you know how those guys are. They get in their head like, oh, I just gave up a base hit. I got he picked the guy off and he said that's enough of him on base. I'm going to strike these 2 guys out, and he did. He blew one by at 98 miles an hour.
He's been so good
amazing.
all year too. He's such a good setup for Matt Barnes. It's like having a second closer, because you have your setup coming in like either the third out of the 7th, and then in the 8th, all 3 outs in the 8th. But he's just been nails all season. He's got an I think his ERA is only like 2.1.
I thought it was lower than that, but it could have gone up,
or like 1 point something. But that's only through 17 innings pitched, which is really good.
But anyways, this sticky tack stuff, the spider tack. Now you got me saying it, Tyler.
Sorry.
The spider. Those are the things that it's got to go.
It really does.
And you know what? They can't do the same thing they did with Alex Cora and with AJ Hinch, where the players were the ones that were cheating, but they pinned it on the guys in the dugout because the players have so much control in that league. And I think that the league needs to take control, and this is one of the things that they have power to take control over, and say, you guys are the egregious users, you're suspended. That's it. The game will totally change if you start suspending players for 80 games. Half the season. You were using this. It was obvious that you were using it, Mr. Garrett Cole. You had a horrible answer at a press conference where you're like, I don't know how to answer this question. Yeah. You know what? Because you were cheating.
Guilty.
And we'll see you next season. Seriously. We'll see you next season.
Well, and I fully agree. And even to put that into perspective as a Red Sox fan, I think Matt Barnes is probably using it. Nobody hooks a ball like that. I think you're right. Nobody does that, and
everybody's using it.
Yeah, and
to some degree.
I think he needs. I think he's one of the more egregious offenders, and I think that if it comes out that that's true and he is using it, I think that he should be reprimanded appropriately. Which is, we'll see you next year.
Stay consistent. Yeah. No, seriously. You guys, you figured out your pitching, huh? Oh no, you were just using a substance. Yeah, we'll see you next season. Try again. Like, talk about sending a message. They were doing that during the PED era. Was it? Manny got hit with it one year and he lost like 60 games or something like that.
Yeah. They brought the hammer down and all that stuff when they really cracked down.
That was at the tail end of it too. He got.
Well, they took it so. Didn't they take it so seriously with Roger Clemens that ended up going in front of like Congress or something like that?
That's where he said I misremembered.
Yeah.
I misremembered what I used or so. Misremembered. What?
Yeah. Is that even a word?
No, it is now. It's he uses it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say it's like just talking about their loss 18-4. I was asking to ask who'd they lose to?
The Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays.
Oh, they're good
not,
though, right?
Yeah, they're not a bad team. They're not. I mean, they're
Aren't
third
they number one?
place.
And they're third place. Wait, who's first then?
The Tampa Bay Lightning.
Oh,
No, not the
okay.
Lightning. The Tampa Bay Rays.
Okay, it's the Rays. Okay, never mind. Okay,
Tyler, I
18
will tell you this about the Red Sox. So I struggled for the past few years. Like, and my wife will tell you, like, I put the Red Sox on now. She's like, "Oh, you're watching this team now?" Because I had struggled to like them, and I think I struggled to like them after David Ortiz retired. Honestly, because like he was just so likable. I can't put any other like phrase on that. Like, you step up to the plate, and you knew something would go down if they were down.
Oh yeah.
And then he was just great after this is my effing city. And, tell the pitcher to get back on the he just was a fun guy. And he was a really easy, plus he's a left-handed hitter. And as a left-handed guy, like I could attach myself to that. And I get that, like the left-handed power thing. Not that I'm a left-handed power. I can't even hit. So what am I talking about? But just the fact that he's left-handed, like I thought that was cool. And like, I don't know. After he retired, I liked Brock Holt a lot. Again, another left-handed guy, and he was just fun to watch and fun to listen to. But I really struggled to watch the team overall because there were just so many people on the team that were just hard to like. They just were. David Price is a hard guy to like. John Farrell was a hard guy to get behind, even though after that they fired him and got Alex Cora in there. Dave Dombrowski completely stripped their farm. Like it was a hard team to like. I like Alex Verdugo.
Oh yeah, I knew you were gonna.
I
knew you were going
kid.
there. That kid
boy.
needs to stay in Boston forever. He is such a godsend to that team.
Honestly,
he's amazing.
Screw JD Martinez. I hope. Great. I'm glad he's a good DH. Not the type of hitter I like.
No, me neither.
He's a nerdy kind of
too superstitious.
Guy. Yeah, he's weird.
He blamed his bad hitting performance last season on not being able to go back into the clubhouse and watch his at bat.
Yeah.
If you need to analyze every swing,
and he wouldn't go into a pitch hit situation last year because he didn't have enough time to look at the film before the game and he was sitting. Like that's a Manny Ramirez kind of thing. That's what Manny used to do. Manny would get into they'd ask him to pitch hit and he'd just stand there and put the bat on his shoulder.
You're a professional athlete.
I know.
Get out there and swing.
Just go in and
we're
strike
not even
out.
asking you to play the game. Yeah, we're just asking you
to go in and strike out. It doesn't even matter. Just go.
But Alex Verdugo,
he's awesome. Bro, did you see the clip of him after I don't know what he was in it wasn't at Fenway, but he stayed after the game to like give hitting tips to some of the kids in the crowd.
I did see that. I did see that.
You're talking about somebody who's just like none of the fame and all that goes to his head. He's out there having fun. And you can tell he's having fun.
When he stepped up to the plate Friday night, they were tied in the 9th inning. And he stepped to the plate, and I said, "Here we go."
Yeah.
Like I felt the same way I felt about David Ortiz, and it really is that wall too, that green monster. Those left-handed hitters really take advantage of that, and he just has that look of like every time he's at the plate of, he hits the ball the wrong way, he gets mad at himself, and I like seeing that. And so, sure enough, boop, there it goes, and that was the game. And then I don't know, Arroyo, is that how you say his name? Picked him up and like
Christian Arroyo
carried him out, off the second base. Just they're a fun team to watch. And I don't know if they're any good, but they're fun.
And talk about somebody that's fun to watch at the plate because of his unique batting stance. You typically have guys up there and they're moving the bat around. He just sits there like this, like bat at head height, and he doesn't move like at all. No getting ready. He just keeps it sitting there, and he still finds time to. He's so much fun to watch.
Yeah, I like this team. I think I'm gonna get my parents to buy me that City Connect Verdugo jersey for my birthday.
Those are nice jerseys.
I love it. And they really weren't on sale for every player. And I really if I was going to get one, I wanted to get a Verdugo one. Plus, what I really like? His number's 99, and that's Aaron Judge's number. And I just really want to walk around New York with a 99 on my back that isn't Aaron Judge and be like, yeah, that's right. This guy actually can play. Although I say that, that Nathan's no, Aaron Judge can actually play. He's just on a team that sucks.
Poor Yankees.
And got swept.
Poor Yankees.
Let's jump into the NFL because there's actually a couple things going on in the NFL. So we wanted to bring up, or Tyler, you wanted to bring up Le'Veon Bell. Just a couple minutes ago, Bleacher Report sent me a notification that kind of like So give us the context of Le'Veon Bell and his comments.
So there was
because something just broke on this.
There was a post on Instagram from I don't know what page, and Le'Veon Bell comment. I honestly don't know the full details of what his comment was, but basically it was along the lines of somebody asked him a question and he said, "I'll never play for Andy Reid again. I'd retire before I play for him again." Which is, I don't know. I don't know what that implies. But that's not good to say that about your former head coach.
And Andy Reid too,
and it's Andy Reid.
Everybody loves Andy Reid.
Yeah.
That played for him. I've never heard that. He just came out and said that he cleared up in some tweet that he enjoyed his time playing for Kansas City, but will not retract his statements about playing for Andy Reid, which I find very interesting because Andy Reid is a guy that, I don't know, most people that have played for him haven't really had much complaint. So what are we trying to? I don't know what we're trying to say here.
So his clarification on saying I don't want to play was him saying the same exact thing.
Yeah, I liked KC. I just didn't like Andy Reid. Okay,
so that's exactly what you said.
Isn't in the NFL the head coach kind of synonymous with the organization? Like, you have owners, you have GMs, yeah. But that league, the head coach matters more than any of those guys in the front office. So to say that you enjoyed Kansas City, but you didn't enjoy Andy Reid is kind of interesting.
And his clarification said the same thing. It's like,
Yeah.
So you don't like Andy Reid. That's what you already said.
Well,
and why?
Here's a quote from him. He said, "I have a right to how I feel about Andy Reid because of what he said to me."
Yeah, what he said to him probably was, "Hey, you're not going to be playing every snap."
Yeah, you're not going to be playing every snap. You're not our first or second down or third down guy. You're just a guy that we brought in.
I guarantee it all had to do with his playing time. 100%.
You're not what you used to be.
Right. Yeah. He was the featured back in Pittsburgh, in New York, and he goes to the Chiefs, and now he's not the featured back anymore. He has to split carries. That's why he doesn't like Andy Reid.
Again, another situation where we're ring chasing, and it didn't work. Oh. The only time you can ring chase
Tom Brady.
The only time I was just about to say, the only time you can ring chase and it works is when you sign with Tom Brady, unless you're Randy Moss.
That's so close. David Tyree, goodness. Yeah, that's all Le'Veon brought. Like that, he just wasn't happy with how he wasn't played as much. But it's like, dude, you're not that same player anymore. You're done. Like your time as an elite running back is over. I don't care what team you go to anymore. You're not going to be that featured back anymore. You're washed up.
I have to give the Steelers credit. They are so good at finding feature backs that are great for a few years and knowing when to move on. They had Le'Veon Bell for a while. Yeah. I'll give them that. But they moved on, went to James Conner. He was phenomenal. They've moved on from him. Like, they just are so good at that kind of thing.
They get their years out of, because they know they're smart. They know running backs have short tenures in the NFL.
They do.
They only got a couple years. It's like, hey, we're going to get a couple good years out of you, and then we're going to ship you off before you break completely.
Don't tell Dallas fans that.
Oh. Zeke is the best running back in the league. Best one by far. It's like, okay,
he's the backbone of the organization. Yeah, and there's where you went wrong.
And yeah, their backbone sucked last year.
So do you guys think Le'Veon Bell will get anywhere? Do you think anybody's
I'm sure
he'll get picked up somewhere.
Yeah, Jacksonville will sign him, or
New England will sign him.
Why?
He won't be happy. He won't be happy in New England though. If he wasn't happy not getting snaps in the Chiefs, you're not going to get a lot.
Maybe Cam Newton will make a difference on that. But you know what? We already have a great running back. His name's Cam Newton. So why do we need Le'Veon Bell?
Who occasionally throws the ball sometimes.
He might throw it better than Cam Newton. So, I mean, yeah, you know what? Why don't we pick him up?
Dude, stop. That's terrible.
I really want to see. Cam Newton hurt his hand. And I really want to see what that's about.
Wait, what? Is this new?
Where have you been? Yeah, he hurt his hand.
I don't know.
Yeah, he hurt his hand, but we're still 3 months away from preseason games. I think that's a good amount of time. I think he'll be all right.
It opens the door to use.
Guys, is this a mental problem I have? Why do I have hope in Cam Newton?
I wanted to have hope in him. I get you. Like, I wanted to have
most confident. You know, I think it's because I follow him on social media, like on all platforms, and you know, from somebody who puts in the amount of work that he does, You just kind of would expect to see some product.
He's an athlete for sure. I don't need an athlete. I need a guy that knows how to throw the ball and makes quick decisions on the field.
Yeah.
I think it's, I don't know, I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt that last year was weird. Last year was weird for all teams. And I think we're headed into a very normal season.
That's not the problem. That's not the problem.
I know that's not his problem. I know that's not his problem. Like, not COVID isn't going to fix him not being able to throw a touchdown pass. I get that. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt that, you know, the littlest things can throw you off your game. And, you know, some of the play calls that he made were questionable. He wasn't cool. I don't know. I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt because things change, and in a normal season, I don't know, I'm willing to give him a chance. And you're both shaking your heads, and I don't understand why.
He had a whole season worth of chances.
Aaron and I are in lockstep on this one.
But you just completely threw away everything I just said. He had a whole season of weird time.
But I'd like to see some progression during that season.
You know what I don't want, Tyler, and this is what I'm most afraid of. I'm not afraid of him sucking because I know if he sucks horribly, it'll be all the excuse in the world just to bench him and put somebody else in as the starter and make me a little bit of money, I might add. But I'm not afraid of being wrong and him being exceptionally good and suddenly they're on a run. What I'm most afraid of is somewhere in the middle. They're not bad. They're kind of in the hunt. We'll see what happens in November and December. I don't want to be there. I don't want to be
either be great or suck.
Week 6, 4-2,
I feel you.
But week 11 be, you know, just a game over 500. I don't want that middling question, and I just think that's what Cam Newton is. You're right. He's not he's an athlete. He can run, and maybe he takes a step forward with his throwing. Maybe getting him more weapons around him, including some really good tight ends, will bring him a step forward or bring this team forward. But like, I don't see them as a team with him as a starting quarterback that will get them to where they need to be, which is where the fans want them. It's where their head coach definitely wants them. He's got a couple things to go out and prove, and it's certainly where their ownership wants him, which is back in the biggest game in the world every year. Like that, I just don't see him as that guy. I see him as the guy that they need to get to that guy, and I think they have that guy who's the next guy on the bench, and I think the sooner that guy can memorize the playbook and be ready to get into the biggest stage, the better. So You're right. This year he might be better than last year. This year they might have a winning record. This year they might get into the wild card round. And you're right that it'll all be step forwards, but it's not the step forward that I want. It's middling.
Right, but when I say I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, like I agree that I don't want a middle ground there. I'd rather him be really good or really bad so that they can address the problem or just stick him in there because he's really good. When I say I give him the benefit of the doubt, I think that there's a chance he could be as good as he used to be.
I don't think you're ever going to see 2015 MVP year.
That's done.
I don't think you'll see that. I just don't think he's the type of talent or skill set that does that again. I'm not taking anything away from his athleticism. I'm not taking anything away from his heart. I think he's probably changed. I think I've come around on him in that sense a lot. You know, it wasn't that long ago he was telling, you know, women who were asking him questions how weird it was for a woman to be asking him a sports question, like you know, that whole thing. And I've forgiven him for the whole not jumping down on that fumble, but like, if you just take all that stuff away, I just don't know if he has the skill set needed in the current constituted NFL with Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, and I don't know, keep naming quarterbacks in the AFC that are in that AFC that like you need to be competing with. Yeah. And frankly, the guy who we're about to talk about, Aaron Rodgers, could end up in the AFC too.
I was just gonna say that.
If you're going to compete against Aaron Rodgers, do you want to compete against him with Cam Newton, or you want to compete against him with someone who can make quick decisions and score fast?
Well, it depends on how Cam Newton does this season.
I don't know, man. I saw watching him throw last year. I know he was coming off of a shoulder injury. Dude's arm doesn't have it, man. He doesn't have it.
The way he plants his foot and the way he throws, it's just they're just begging for balls to be batted down at the line of scrimmage.
His inaccuracy, not for long balls, but for short and intermediate. He was not accurate on those.
And that's the bread and butter of the Patriots offense right there. It's
Yeah.
never been the long ball.
Well, so
It's
you don't
always
think that that's
been
something that
the
you can
short out.
train and work on?
I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can. How can you train somebody who can no longer throw the ball to throw it better in the intermediate pass?
Yeah, I don't know if his arm
Well, how
has
do you
it.
how
He's
do you
got to have
train
the zip.
anybody?
It's got to be the zip.
Yeah, but
That's
you
that
could
short pass. Is
there's
right
things
in
that
there.
you can do to correct that and fix that. And I think
don't know.
I think that that's why Bill
know.
Belichick's keeping him at quarterback. And I've said
No,
this
I think he's-
I've said this at the beginning, from the beginning, that they know a lot more than we do. And I think that, this just might be my blind trust in the Patriots organization, but I think that they're not going to keep somebody in there that they know is going to lose. That just doesn't make
you're
any
right.
sense.
They do know a lot more than we do. There is no evidence of Cam Newton hurting his hand on the field. Not a single lick of evidence that he hurt his hand on the field.
I wonder how
There's
that happened.
there's a claim that he hit a
Helmet.
helmet. Yeah, but
That's
there's
always the go-to for hand injuries.
but there's no evidence of that.
What does that
So
imply?
maybe they do know that he hurt his hand off the field.
Oh,
Fortnite. Playing video games.
carpal tunnel from control.
Yeah.
Ah!
Don't talk about David Price.
You guys think Aaron Rodgers? This is going to be our last episode before really football season starts, because this will be the last one for a couple months. So going into that, do you think Aaron Rodgers will be back? Because there was this thing that came out from the what is he? The president. The Packers are so weird.
Yeah,
The
they don't have an
Packers
owner,
president.
right?
Yeah, they don't have an owner because they're. I think it's actually cool what they do. They're
Fan owned or whatever.
yeah,
that means
yeah.
Or something.
But whoever inevitably pays the most money in does a lot of the decision
Right.
making. But this Mark Murphy guy called Aaron Rodgers a complicated fella, and he tried to couch it like, somebody else said this about a bunch of players, and he mentioned it about Aaron Rodgers, this Ted Thomason guy who's passed away a year ago or earlier this year, whatever it was. I don't know who he is. It sounds like a guy that they trusted and loved. So I'm sorry for their loss, but he used to say, he's a complicated fella. Okay, so what if the president, the de facto owner, if you will, is coming out and saying this guy is a complicated fellow? What does that imply about what they're trying to do as part of a media blitz about who's supposed to be their starting quarterback in September?
I don't. At this point now, I'm really beginning to think Aaron Rodgers isn't coming back to Green Bay. I didn't think that was going to be possible when this all started. I was like, well, it's Aaron Rodgers. Of course he's going to come back. They're going to want him back. But more of this crap keeps coming up in the media specifically, and I really think the Packers organization is just sick of him, which is crazy to think with the talent that he is. But I don't think he's coming back.
I don't think so either.
I
I
think
don't
this
think
is
you
it.
start saying things like that in the
Yeah.
media.
And it's been recurring, like you said. It's been slowly. It's almost like it's a rollout plan of them saying, "No, we're okay with you not coming back. We don't like you."
Yeah.
We're going to tell everybody that we want you back, but as it becomes more evident, we're going to start saying things like, "Well, he's a complicated fella," or we love Aaron Rodgers, but he can be kind of hard. This is the thing that's going to start happening this summer.
So
He's just
crazy.
hard to deal with. He just, this, that, and then there's going to be this kind of progressive thing of things coming out about him. And by the way, if they're all true, I mean, as great of a talent as he is, if it comes out like the stuff that came out about David Price, where he couldn't play because of carpal tunnel, or he had it in Tampa, he had to have he demanded that the people that washed his clothing wash it with a different detergent because the one that he had gave him an allergic reaction, which, that actually is a thing. Like, I get that.
Right.
But like, when you have one guy where a lot of those things come out about, where they're just that particular, they have that many nuances to their day-to-day operations off the field, can you blame an organization for saying you're really talented, but you don't want to come back? And really, if you don't, we really don't want to deal with you anymore. We have the next guy sitting on the bench. You're giving us the perfect reason to go trade you, get some more assets, and put this kid in there and see what he can do.
Yeah. So where do we
Jordan
think...
Love has said that he's like in reports and interviews, "No, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go if they give me the start this season."
Good for him.
Yeah, he's already come out and said that, which is like, ooh, okay.
And he's had what, a year or two in the playbook, so he should be ready.
Last year, he had a full year last year. Yeah. Plus this off.
Where do we think Aaron Rodgers ends up if he even plays?
Who needs a quarterback?
The Bears.
I don't know.
Bears? Okay. Oh, that'd be an interesting division rival thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's in the same division.
Wouldn't Minnesota take a shot at him and tell Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, Minnesota, possibly the Dolphins.
Denver.
If Tua,
Can you imagine if he goes to the Dolphins?
If Tua can't pull it off, yeah,
Houston,
they need a quarterback bad.
Houston might need a quarterback. They're
that
in a
was my
full
last
rebuild
one.
though.
Yeah, wait. So what's going on with Watt? Has there anything been updated on his like trials and stuff like that?
I don't think
what's
that's
going on with that.
I think the league needs to make a call here of whether or not they're gonna let him.
Yeah,
No, they shouldn't
nothing's
let him
come
play.
out in a while.
I'm sorry,
Is that what you think?
20-something women come forward and say that he sexually assaulted them. The league should step in and be like, "You're not playing." Sorry.
Yeah, I don't understand why that's going on, but
I've heard nothing on it since it's like
either.
died down, and I'm like, okay, so is he playing? Is he not playing?
Well, they probably all got gag orders, so.
Does Carolina need a quarterback?
They
Who do they
got,
have?
they got Bridgewater. I think they're gonna stick with him.
Mhm.
So they need a quarterback. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry, Teddy.
Sorry.
I hope we don't hear this.
I like Teddy Bridgewater. He's an injury waiting to happen. I guess Aaron Rodgers is too, but I would
know
take
that-
Aaron Rodgers with injury tendencies over
They've
Teddy
talked about
Bridgewater.
the Raiders potentially.
Derek Carr is
So
not what he used to
basically,
be,
Aaron
yeah.
Rodgers has a lot of people that could be kicking the tires.
There's a lot of teams that could use him.
Yeah, if I were
And
Aaron
he knows
Rodgers,
that.
I would be taking
Ooh.
all those phone calls,
What
baby.
about
Who's going to pay me?
What about the Colts?
Oh yeah.
No,
Carson Wentz.
Nope.
He's already in the hot seat.
No, Carson Wentz just got traded there, and the head coach there was his offensive coordinator. They're gonna at least be together a year. I don't think they're gonna bring in Aaron Rodgers. You bring in Aaron Rodgers, you're not bringing Aaron Rodgers to come in and back up Carson Wentz. Nope.
Well, no, you'd be Carson Wentz would back up Aaron Rodgers.
Right. No, that's exactly
there.
what I mean. Is Carson Wentz went there and he's going to be the starter. And I guess if
I'd be so pissed if I was him and that happened. All right,
I don't see the head coach
Aaron
letting that
Rodgers
happen.
Special team. Oh no. So,
I mean,
there's not a shortage of
Patriots
teams
could
that
make
could
a
use
phone
him.
call, right?
No.
Yeah, Aaron knows that. There's a lot of teams.
Yeah.
That could use him. He knows.
There's no shortage of need for quarterbacks, especially elite quarterbacks. So.
New England. Yeah, just saying.
Well, actually, now that you say it, if I'm not gonna lie, if he came to New England and they'd said bye Cam, and Mac Jones got to study under Aaron Rodgers for however long Aaron Rodgers is here, I'd be all right with that.
Yeah,
I'd be pretty cool with that.
Yeah, I would take that all day.
Yeah.
All right. Eric,
Let's
yeah,
get to
something
this.
down here about the numbers.
Yeah.
switching.
What do you guys think of this? This I wanted to get to this a couple weeks ago, but there was just so many other things going on. This whole numbers change in the NFL this offseason. NFL owners approved a proposal changing how NFL jersey numbers will be assigned. While quarterbacks, kickers, and punters will continue to wear numbers 1 through 19. These are the new regulations for other positions. So running backs, tight ends, fullbacks, H-backs, and receivers can now wear numbers 1 through 49 and 80 through 89. Defensive backs can now wear 1 through 49. Linebackers can now wear 1 through 59 and 93. And it goes on and on. But basically, it's that it used to be, or at least up to this coming year in the league, that certain positions would wear certain numbers or certain what's the word? Sets of numbers. That's not the best word, but you know what I mean. Like receivers would wear 80s, quarterbacks would wear. That's why Julian Edelman was 11, right? Because he was drafted as a quarterback, and then they converted him into a receiver. So that's why he had a number that was previously worn by Drew Bledsoe, who was a quarterback. So I just want to know what, and that's why like Gronk is 87, right? So just your thoughts on that. I have one really stupid opinion about it, but I don't. It's a dumb opinion. It's like way down the list of things that you should care about in sports, but it is an opinion I have. But I just wanted to know, Tyler, like, what do you think about this?
I don't freaking care who wears what number. I couldn't care less. That makes no difference to me watching a football game when somebody's wearing a number that they previously couldn't wear.
His face is so disgusted. He's like, "Why are you?"
I have a take that you might understand, but I'm with you so far, Aaron.
I don't care. Go ahead.
Well, some of this has already started happening. I mean, there's not even just Edelman. There's a bunch of receivers who have like number 17, 14 and 10. Like DeAndre Hopkins is number 10. So it's kind of been happening with receivers already. So that's not too surprising. Overall, I don't think it's a big deal. I know like Brady made a big deal about it. The one thing though, I don't know if this is what you were gonna mention, Eric, is that
No.
there is some reasoning that actually makes sense for why it is a problem, is because quarterbacks like Brady, who are highly intelligent, been in the league for a long time, they make a living off of identifying the Mike linebacker, because that's how they adjust their audibles, is knowing who to call out, and it's always been within the same like 50s like number scheme. Like that's how
54,
you're able,
yeah.
right? That's how you're able to identify him. And so off the bat, like when you're in the heat of like of playing, like you look up, boom, all right, 55 is the Mike, that's the linebacker, the middle linebacker, and that's when you can call to make the audibles. Um, if the numbers are switched and they're wearing like 22, which is normally a cornerback number or a safety, that could cause you to make a mental mistake, especially when you're in the spur of the moment and you need to make a quick call. So that there is some credence to that, where I think there could be a little bit of confusion early on in the season.
Do you think that
Um,
teams will purposely prey on that, and have their ask some of their linebackers that maybe don't care? But I think everybody cares about what number they're wearing. A lot of times they wear the number. If they're drafted as a linebacker, they wore that number all the way down to Pee Wee. That's like
yeah, and
the
they like
superstition of
pay
that.
absurd amounts of money in order to wear those. But the thing, I think the first half of the season it could be an issue, but Brady's smart, he'll adapt.
Yeah, I agree.
So I
Man,
don't think
for a
it's
team
long
to
term not a big thing.
for a team, if they were going to exploit that, that'd be freaking genius.
It would be.
That'd be
Oh, yeah.
Like
genius. That'd be so much fun to
would be
watch.
that would be a Bill Belichick thing. Like if there's
Yeah.
some sort of loophole where you could change your numbers mid-season, he would totally
Oh,
week
yeah.
4 heading into facing Brady have all his linebackers put on different numbers just because he could. Like that's textbook Bill Belichick, or like Vrabel. I could see him doing that. Like those guys that are these heady defensive minds that are like, anything we can do to disrupt the pattern of a
We're
star
gonna do it.
quarterback. If you can just throw him off his game a little bit, that's all you need. You just need the door to crack open a little bit in football, and that defense can shut it down the rest of the way. My sports take on this is I don't care. That just let me start there. Tyler, I'm with you. But I will say this much. You guys ever seen that meme where it's like they hired a new valet guy and it's like an aerial shot of the parking lot and before and after, and before like all the cars were parked and it didn't really matter, but afterwards they're all parked like color coordinated in like biggest car to little car, and they're all spread out by like 4. That's how my mind works. Like I'm an OCD guy, so like those things really click to me. So like I love some of the order in sports. Like the Red Sox, when they're home on Fridays they wear blue jerseys, but when they're away they wear red jerseys. Like just those stupid little things that like they do. So like I don't care. Like this is not. I'm not going to say, well, the Patriots won, but boy, I really wish that Mac Jones wasn't wearing number 50. Like I'm not going to walk away saying that. I'm
Right.
not an idiot. But my OCD head, I like that. You know, running backs have certain numbers, and
Right.
quarterbacks have certain numbers, and linebackers, because I just like the order of it. It's just my OCD, and those are the kind of things, honestly, that make sports interesting. Like it's fun to me that the Red Sox wear blue jerseys at home on Friday nights. But when they're in Yankee Stadium on Friday night, they're wearing a red jersey. But usually their away jersey is white. So like all those little intricacies and all those kind of things, like you get behind a player based on their number, and like the way you buy a certain type of jersey. I told you guys I want to buy the City Connect, which they only wore on Patriots Day in Boston. Like that's the only city that's going to do it that. Like I love those little things about sports. And so that part of me is bothered by this, but not enough where I'm like, those people out there, I'm not watching it anymore. The NFL really needs to get their act together. I'm protesting it
So
until,
dumb.
like they, those players, they don't know what it was like back in the, shut up with that. Like, who cares? If the game is, if the game is entertaining and it's a fascinating game and they're running all up and down the field and they're scoring and there's defense, I'm watching it. I don't care what they do. I don't care what nuances they want. I don't care what jerseys they're wearing or not wearing, or like just make it fun and I'll watch it. I'm so easy to please.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I'm right there. At the end of the day, it's not a big deal. Will it look weird at first? Yeah, it will. But it's just a jersey number at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So that's all. Yeah. I don't know how I wonder how many people are going to actually switch their jerseys.
And it
I'm
happens across sports. Like even before this, obviously you had the Kobe Bryant jersey change,
Yeah,
right?
8 and 24. LeBron's changing his back next
Yep.
year. He's
I
going back
saw
to
that.
6.
that.
Yep,
I
going
saw
back to
that.
the Heat number
Which is
Um,
what, 8 or 6?
6. Yep.
It's a little bit weirder in my sports, like NASCAR, because obviously you have a car number. It's the same concept,
Yeah.
but like, I know after Dale Earnhardt died, they got rid of the 3, and the owners own like the car number. They have like rights to the car number in certain ways. So they asked Richard Childress, the owner of that car, said, I don't want a 3. Can NASCAR give me the lowest number that didn't have a 3? And that's how you got the 29, which he's had ever since. So like, there's those there's moments where this kind of stuff happens.
Well, yeah, numbers matter too. Like nobody's allowed to wear what was Jackie Robinson?
42.
42. Yeah, you'll never see somebody wearing a 42. You'll never see somebody in a Red Sox jersey wearing 34. Or whatever Pedro's number is. You'll never see somebody wearing. And I get that. Like the numbers do matter. That's their identity. But I feel like that goes for sports, all the sports other than football. Unless it's the quarterback, right? The quarterback is
they do retire
the
numbers,
quarterback,
but that's different.
I think the quarterback is the only number on the field that really matters to me. Just because that's how I'm going to identify them, I guess.
I don't know. I like Teddy Bridge's number 54, man.
All the other guys,
I
just don't care. It's just a jumble of white numbers. Like I just don't care.
Yeah.
I guess the quarterback number is the only one I care about. And if it was 92, I wouldn't care. I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care what number it is.
Richard Seymour, baby.
Richard Seymour, a good one. There you go. Yeah, I mean, when you're paying attention to you are they in what is that 11 personnel, and you see the what numbers are out there. Like if you're actually following it closely for those kind of things, know it. But then it's really just you need to know which player relates to that number or that jersey. So that, I mean, I don't think most of these guys are going to change the numbers. I think what they're doing is they're doing it so that people that are drafted can pick whatever number they want. Yeah. And you'll see it kind of come up in the league over the years.
It'll be more for the newer players coming in.
What I don't want is I don't want everybody changing their number every year. I think that's where he gets stupid.
Yeah, that just makes no sense to me. So I'm
like
gonna be
this year, Gronk is
this year, then 12 next year, just because.
Yeah, I think that's where he gets stupid. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
All right, Aaron. You guys got anything else?
I'm good, man. I'm good. So, as always, we are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Spotify. We are on YouTube. Please go to our channels and like and subscribe. Also, give us some reviews, especially on Apple, because that will help boost our presence on there so that more people can find us. So please leave a review if you can, and also follow us on our social media platforms, Instagram and Facebook at Under.500 Podcast. You can just look us up, follow us there for any updates, and send us any DMs about topics you'd want us to cover, just questions, comments that you have, so that we can interact with you. And just one other note is this will be the last episode of the current season. Most of all, that is my fault because I'm moving. And so the next couple of weeks, I am very busy and I'm not going to be able to record for a while, especially living in my parents' place. So until we find another place, we're going to have to take a quick break. So yes, it is all my fault, all you listeners out there, that we're gonna have to take a break.
It's summer. It's Father's Day's next week. My birthday's the week after
4th
that.
of
I'm going
July
4th of July.
Yeah.
I'm going on 2 different vacations. I'm not trying to make excuses. I'd like to get a couple episodes in here, like just as like mini episodes. That'd be a lot of fun. But I mean, it's a busy season.
We could do mini ones.
So stay posted, guys.
Get Jacob in here.
We're not trying to make excuses so that all our listeners go, well, they just don't care enough.
I'm sure there's going to be some like breaking headline that we're going to have to do an emergency episode for.
Whatever, Aaron. Mark my words.
Aaron's going to be on his phone. It's going to be terrible quality, but we're going to be talking about something good. I promise.
Aaron Rodgers signs with the team. You will have a new episode within 48 hours.
Yeah.
I can bet you that much.
There we go. So we'll be on call, essentially.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
We'll just be on call.
Yeah.
All right. So season 2's in the books, gentlemen.
Heck yeah. It's been a good one.
It's been a different than season 1, and I like it.
I like this season. It's my favorite one so far.
I agree. It's pretty good.
I'd like season 3 to continue to build on what we've done in these first 2 seasons, and It'll be football season, so it'll be a heck of a
Well,
lot
that's
more
what
to
I was
talk
just going to
about.
say. Season 3 is going to open up hot with probably at least one preseason game in the books before we record. So it's going to be
My
nice.
biggest regret for season 2 was having a guest on here put Peyton Manning #1 over Tom.
Oh, goodness. We're
If
not
there was
going into
one
that.
thing we could undo, that would have been
We
it.
never brought Jacob in this season, and I'm really missing some hot Jacob.
So what you should do is bring him in on maybe some of those mini episodes, just in case like I'm not
Yes,
able to.
we need
Get him
Jacob
to
back
sub
in here.
there.
Nothing like
Yep.
an Ohioan that loves a Dallas team to
And
really
we gotta get
spice up
Nathan.
the airwaves.
We gotta get Nathan back in here too.
Oh yeah, dog days of summer. You're right. We gotta have
Ooh.
like an all-star, Tyler, all-star break.
You know
Little
what? That's what
checkup
we're
on the
gonna do.
MLB season.
You know what we'll do in this off season in between season 3? We'll get a lineup secured of guests.
We gotta bring it. We
We're
gotta
gonna-
do a little mini one with Nathan for sure.
I love
Yes.
how
Bring him
just,
in.
I love how we're planning out the next season live.
We'll do, hey,
Yeah, hey, we're
We're a
telling
transparent
our
podcast.
listeners, this is how much we care. Okay, this is for you. Okay.
most of our listeners have probably already turned it off. So
True,
why don't
yeah.
you just end this thing?
All right. See you guys.
All right. See you guys.